Hi folks, Slick Slices here. Just a short video here, and maybe a little bit cynical, but I there's this open tag going around about your 5 favourite shields. So I'm just showing here my 5 favourite shields, and as I say, I'm perhaps being a little bit tongue-in-cheek in this, in that I dislike shields almost completely. There are very few exceptions. So I thought I'd show you why I think that's the case. I love to collect knives that have got beautiful cover materials, and I suppose this one here is pretty much as good as they get. This is some desert ironwood, and it's just the most beautifully figured wood. This is also desert ironwood. It's maybe not as figured as that other one, but it's it's very pleasing too. It's got a beautiful grain in it, and I'm wondering in what way sticking a shield in that is going to improve on that beautiful grain and improve on the styling of the knife. So I always think with Barlow, putting the stamping in the bolster, you've got that big area of metal. There's a perfect place if you want to stick a bit of figuring or say something. That's the place to do it. But you've got these lovely bits of desert ironwood. Where does a shield enhance that piece of beautiful desert ironwood? I mean, here again we've got a lovely bit of grain here. This is a Boca Barlow from their Gold series, and they stick a horrid, really, little shield in there, which just looks cheap. And if it was just a plain bit of metal, that never really enhances it to me either. This is a beautiful bit of burlwood. It's one of the most beautiful knives that I own, actually. I don't know what the actual wood is. It's a burl of something. Burl is usually from the sort of root, what do you call it? The root mass of a plant, where the different you've got different growth patterns in different directions, and when you slice it up, you end up with these lovely, you can see that these are sort of must be the stems or whatever were growing through the wood. You get the beautiful pattern. I have another one with a almost as good wood, which is this one from Puma, but it's got a blooming great shield in the middle of it. I can't see what that adds to the knife at all, and I think it just detracts from what was otherwise a beautiful, beautiful piece of wood. I'd much rather have 2 sides just like that, as I have clearly in this Robert David Epicurean. The one exception I make out of my collection, which runs into hundreds, the one exception I'll make is this one, which is a Shatton Morgan knife. Now the Shatton Morgan shield is quite distinctive always because it's this keystone. It's the keystone out of an arch. But this one stands out to me as the only one of the knives that I have where I actually think the shield adds to rather than detracting from the base material. This is in black buffalo horn, which I've never really sold on as a material. I think it looks like plastic, only plastic would probably be a more robust material, because this stuff can chip, and there are a couple of little chips in the buffalo there. But this one is inlaid with mother of pearl, and that's the one time in all the knives that I've got where I actually think the knife is better for having the shield in it. This particular one was a gift to me from my very, very good friend Warthog, and every time I see this, of course, it makes me think of him in his current predicament. And if you're a praying type, now would be a good time to bother God. I'm not a god botherer myself, so it makes it difficult to think of anything practical that I can do to help in his situation. But he is in my thoughts, and I know he has the support of many people in the knife community. That's not why I love this knife particularly. Well, it's part of the reason why I love this knife, but I do think that lovely, glistening mother of pearl is an enhancement to this knife, whereas practically any other shield, I think there's nothing to add to a knife. You know, can you imagine if you have a beautiful piece of mother of pearl like the Stockman, can you imagine drilling a hole in it and sticking a shield in it? I can't think of anything more crass. I am reminded, when I think of shields, of Prince Charles, when they built an extension onto the side of the National Portrait Gallery, which is on the north side of Trafalgar Square in London, and they built a modern extension, and he called it a monstrous carbuncle on the face of a much loved friend. And I think that when you put a shield on a beautiful bit of ironwood, or a wonderful bit of burl that's taken decades, if not centuries, to grow, is just crass, and I think it's just wrong. So I would prefer to see my knives without it. It's one of the reasons why I quite like pinned knives, because when you start putting screws in knives, you produce a similar effect, whereas pins tend to be a little bit smaller and more discreet, and certainly in the metal parts can actually disappear. You know, occasionally you can see them in a traditional knife. You can almost see a pin in that there, actually. But yeah, so anyway, that's my take on my 5 favourite shields. Well, there's one. It's the one that I actually think has actually added something to a knife, and out of all my knives, it's the only one. Anyway, thank you very much. If you like this stuff, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to hear more of my witterings, then remember to subscribe, and if you want to actually get reminded of them, remember to ring the bell. Thank you. Bye.